Good morning, and good morning. How are you? The sun is so bright here in my kitchen today, and I was trying to get some of that sun out, but it's beautiful and naturally pretty outside. And good morning. How was your weekend? I had a great weekend. It was so much fun. I went to the 100 Black Women's um, annual hat show, and I wore a crazy hat. If you've seen it online, that's how I was looking. But anyway, it was a lot of fun. My eye is bothering me this morning. It just started. But it was a lot of fun, a lot of women and men in attendance, and they came styling. They had on beautiful, beautiful hats, all colors. Yellow seemed to be the color yesterday, and that was the color that I had on. But it seemed to really be quite interesting to watch. I don't know what is happening here with my comments. Okay, I can see it again. But anyway, I had a great time. And today I wanted to talk about, I'm still caught up in what the Olympics do for us in terms of our real lives, that we know that every day we get up, we may be competing with ourselves or we're competing with someone else. So that is our word for today, compete. And I find that some things that I've been challenged with to compete in, I'm originally didn't want to, but realizing that sometimes in order for us to survive, we have to learn the idea of competition, the importance of competition, because sometimes what someone else is doing may push us along to do something that works for us. There's a lot of people who have talent, but they've never discovered it because they never competed anything that would challenge them to use their talent. And so I have just made it up in my mind that for me, I'm going to challenge myself until I leave this planet. I'm going to challenge myself finding something that gives me, hope, desire, ambition, thrive. I'm going to be headed towards a line of something. It doesn't say that I win, but the winning may be that I tried. The winning may be that I took some steps, and so that's my plan. That's my plan of action towards making every day the point of trying something. I don't know what's happening today. My comments keep disappearing. But anyway, our word today is compete, and which is shortened from competition. But I found a poem here by Savannah Hughes, and it says of Spalding Academy. Good morning, David. How are you? Good morning. Good morning. How's my niece? Tell her I said hi. We haven't talked a couple of days, so I need to give her a call today. And I know y'all probably running around. It says, "That's right. Do the damn thing." LOL. We love you. Love you too. Love you too. But anyway, today's word is compete, and I know that you realize that you have to compete in almost everything that we do in order that we would not end up last or that we haven't given it a try. Good morning, Ardelia. It was so good seeing you and spend a little minutes with you yesterday. You are the cutest, I swear. But anyway, I found this poem, and it's once again it's by Savannah Hughes of Spalding Academy, and it says, "There's yes and there's no, wrong and right, good and bad, dark and light. We are taught these so simple things, but what if there's a middle ground that swings between yes and no, wrong and right? Something in between black and white, that's a call to chance and a choice we all own to break past what's set in stone, whether you come or go, stand or sit, help or hinder, try again or quit. It's your choice, and it's yours alone to sit in the shadows or explore the unknown. Nobody can choose for you, not even me. For you are writing your own story. I love it. You're writing your own story. There's no way that anybody can make decisions for you to get in the race, stay out of race. To me, every day we get up, we have to make choices, you know. And the choices may be, do we make this the best day that we've had, or the best day that we've had in a long time, or do we lay in the bed? It's really choices. It's really choices. Good morning, Erica. How are you doing? Your son did a fabulous job. Some of those hats, the one hat I like was too big for my head, but I would have worn it anyway. I probably would have been someplace down around about there looking like I'm not that tall, but it was really good. I had a good time. But anyway, our word today is compete, and we're going to start right in because I believe that it is important that we know how to compete. Hey, Nehemiah Johnson, good word yesterday. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. But anyway, the word compete says to strive or gain or win something by defeating or establishing superiority over others who are trying to do the same thing. Isn't that what we watched for the last 2 weeks and change? We watched that in the competitive sports that went on through the Olympics, and it was wonderful. Ah, thank you. Yeah, I know. And what you seen was, it says the take part, the play, the contestants doing their thing, those who participated, those even when they got sick, they still participated. Okay. Sometimes we will get sick and the slightest little sniffle, we're out. We're not going to compete. But if we look at life differently, if we look at life like every day is an opportunity to compete in something that we may not be able to win, but we're winning because we're doing it. We're winning because we're trying it. So it also talks about when you compete, it's the clash of what it is that you know you're up against. It's the wrestle and it's the lock horns. It's so funny because even when we were little, my mother used to say, I don't want you to fight each other, but I want you to know that there's somebody that may be louder than you. They may be bigger than you. They may be more pushier than you. They may be more aggressive than you. But I need you to stand your ground. Stand it. Even if you come home with a little black eye. But I wasn't the kind of kid that ever got in trouble. So I didn't know anything about that aggressive portion. But my mother was trying to teach us to understand that life has periods where you must compete in what's going on. You must be a part of it. You cannot be on the sidelines all the time. Yeah, you can cheer others on, but you need to be out there cheering for yourself, trying things you haven't tried before, trying the unknown, which is what the poem just talked about. Many of us don't even know that we're talented in other areas. Part of my dissertation was that I looked at, the fact that we all learn differently. And there's so many different ways that we learn. We can learn, by hearing. We can learn by seeing. We can learn kinetically. We can learn so many ways, movement, kinetics, touching things tactically. We can learn, but it's our own personal way that we learn. And I believe all of us were given our own ways of learning. Some of us can learn on multiple levels. One of the things it talked about when I was doing my research for my doctorate and looking at what they call multiple intelligences, the author of and actually the one who owns the whole concept of multiple intelligence, his daughter was coming to him and saying, hey, look, I went to college and I'm not as good as those other kids. They have great memories and they have great ways of approaching things. And he broke it down to her. He said, there are multiple ways that we learn. And if we don't adapt to and understand how we learn, we will stay in a position of being stuck. So not every child that goes to school is going to learn from a teacher who teaches traditionally. They're not. Okay. So they're going to have to learn what it is that makes them learn better. Okay. It may be that music playing in the background. Okay. One of the things my dissertation talked about was looking at how Mozart's music has the high notes have a tendency to allow the brain to be more receptive to what it's hearing. So those kind of just researching, If you never research anything or look at other things or the alternatives, you'll never know what it is that you don't know because you never tried it. Try something else. So when we break the word down further, my C is challenge yourself. Don't let it go down that you haven't challenged yourself to do something else today that you didn't even do yesterday. Challenge yourself. Good morning, Kalithia. How are you? It was great seeing you yesterday. You ladies look so good, so sharp, so sharp, so sharp. But anyway, today our word is compete, and I'm on my first letter, which I said is to challenge. Now, you can challenge others, but a lot of times the challenge begins with us challenging ourselves, you know, getting a plan and sticking to it, or getting a plan that may have, what I would call hills and valleys. The hills meaning we're going to try it. The valley mean we don't know if we can stay with it, but we're going to try it again. That's another hill. So we look at the challenge, and the challenge, it says, is a task of or a situation that tests someone's abilities. Some of us have never been tested. After we left high school, that was it. We never allowed ourselves to be tested again. And to me, you can test yourself by learning a new trade, learning something you never knew before, learning how to sew, knit, learning how to sing, learning how to write. There's so many things within us that we don't know about them because we never explored them. And to me, one thing leads to another thing. Good morning, Miss Rosie. How are you? Love you. We never know if we don't challenge ourselves. So a challenge really talks about, it sets a problem before us and we knock it down. Okay. We see the rigor it might take for us to stay in that area, but eventually we've added another area onto the things that we already do. That's smart. That's smart. To me, the tumbleweed that's tumbling, eventually when it starts, it may be smaller, but as it moves along, it gathers more and more weeds, tumbleweeds, as it goes further down the beach. So that's what I think about, or in the wilderness, wherever it is. That's what I think about for myself. I'm going through this process of getting rid of a lot of stuff. And I am a person who loves reading and writing. So I have a lot of paper around, and man, I'm coming across stuff I forgot that I knew how to do. I forgot it only because, good morning, Cheryl. How are you doing? Good morning. Good morning. Our word today is compete. And I literally forgot about the fact that I have done some things that, to me, it's just a blessing that I've done all those things, and I realize I've been blessed to be able to have done them and still move on to other things that I want to do, meaning I still know how to do it. It's just that there's other stuff I'm exploring. So I'm going to challenge myself. So I have challenge for my number one word. And challenge says, meaning I face a problem. I go through the truth. I go through the trial. The truth may be I'm not good at it. The trial may be that I go through it, and eventually the truth is that I can do it. Okay? Then we talk about it being a difficult task. Most things that we're addressed with in life, they're going to be difficult. They're not going to be easy. Anything that comes to us too easy, we usually, throw it to the side. I say don't throw it to the side. I say keep it. Keep it. If there's things that you can do easy, then that's something that you can add without any trouble. Okay. It's something that is still in your wheelhouse. It's there. It's a part of your book bag that you can take with you, that you can add to something else that may be needed. Because every once in a while, somebody needs what it is that you do. It also says when you're challenged, you're going to be tested. Okay. Anytime you get into a situation and you're not tested, it becomes like less enchanting to you, less exciting. So sometimes you need to be tested. How much do you really know about this area? It says sometimes it may give you a challenge, may give you trouble until you are able to maneuver your way through it and understand it and be able to make sense of it, and then, add to whatever's going down in that area. It says it may bother you and it may truly be an obstacle. Most people, which is what I did for the federal government worldwide, was to really look at um, certification and licensures. And many times the military doesn't require people in the military at one time that they would not have to be certified or licensed while they're in the military doing their jobs. But my dissertation was really looking at how are they prepared for transitioning out. We know they're prepared for staying in, but when you come out, you know, a doctor's assistant, a physician's assistant, and a medical assistant cannot do some of the things that they might have to do on a front line. They're in war. Anybody will give that needle, just as long as the needle is given. But you have to really look at, okay, so how is it that, when you come out, you're not prepared? Well, that's what we do. We try to tell people that most occupations in the civilian workforces and industries, you have to be licensed or certified. Even teachers, at one time, teachers were not certified. They weren't licensed. Now, certain states, well, most states probably have that criteria now. But I remember when I was coming through in the state of New York, you did not have to be certified. Now, I was certified in a certain state of New York, but once again, it depended on what state you were going through as a teacher. So when we move on in our word of to compete, we talk about my O. Now, my O is opponent. When I say opponent, I'll say the opposing side. The persons that might be competing for the same job you're looking for, maybe the same mate, the same friends, generalize it. It may be the same team. You're on that team and they're on that team and you're on this team. Okay. Or it may be like the Olympics, okay, where there's, representatives from each country who have made the mark to say that they're going to run or work for this particular medal that they're running for, jumping for, okay, swimming for, diving for. So that would be your opponents. And so we have to know that life comes with opponents. Whether we know they're there or not, they are there. They're there. If you go out for a job and 4 or 5 people apply for the same job, someone is going to surface to the top. And what I try to tell people, put all of your information there, but put it in a succinct and an easy read, so that they don't have to search for it. It said, 4 years of college, went back for their master's, currently working on it. Make it quick so they can get through it. Okay. Then if they want to know more detailed information, they can call you back. That's how you do. So, but always know that even when you're competing, even though you're not seeing anybody else applying for that job, somebody is. They are. So the opponent is someone who competes against or fights another in a contest, a game, an argument, or a rival or adversity. Sometimes people just love to argue, or they love to debate, or they love to be on this side, that side. And one of the things I find that sometimes you have to realize that the goal may be that nobody can win, especially in areas where there's great controversy or great division. So therefore you talk about the mutual ground, and the mutual ground may be the safe place where people just say, I hear you. I respect that opinion. It makes it easy. It makes it easier than fighting over something that is really, a battle that can't be won. The collective body may be making decisions, but you, the personal one, may just have one vote, one time to talk. It's yours. Okay. And that's between you and the voting poll, or you and your private discussion, or you if it's a confession, to a priest or something. But to me, it becomes personal. Opportunity. That's a great one, because sometimes we don't realize we have opportunity, so we choose not to compete because we don't realize that we could be a part of that one that gets the job or gets the relationship going, or gets the medals. Let's face it. Sometimes we just have to put ourselves out there. So when we have an opponent, it says we realize that we have rivals. Good morning, Maurice. How are you doing, my friend? Today our word is compete. So when we have an opponent, so I said challenge for my first word. Opponent is my second, which says that we will have rivals. There will be adversity. We understand that we're being opposed. The opposition is there. It says it may be a fellow contestant, meaning that, somebody else is running for the same thing, or a fellow competitor, maybe an enemy, And sometimes I think the new word they call them is frenemies. Frenemies meaning they're close, but they're not so close. Meaning they're really not your friend, but they want to be close to you. Because I think even it is said that you should keep a friend, an enemy closer than a friend, meaning that you need to know what they're doing. I don't know about that for me. I can't mess up my atmosphere all the time if I'm always thinking, if I have to think negatively, and I don't want to do that. Obligation is good. That's a great word. Opponent also says that you may have an antagonist, a combatant, another challenger, a critic. Because, I look at all of the stuff on TV, and there's so much criticism about everything. The least little thing, there's someone to criticize. And it says also the opponent may be the descender. Good morning. Good morning, Carlos. How are you? Good to see you in the space. When we move on, and our word today is compete. So we're looking at, so far we did challenge, opponent. My M for today is match. Sometimes we are mismatched with who's challenging us. Sometimes we're matched perfectly. And sometimes we're better than who we're matched with. We have to just face what it is that we're dealing with. It says match means a contest in which people or teams compete against each other in a particular sport. So sometimes you don't even realize that you're in a game. Like I remember in undergraduate school, the big thing was playing, bid whist. And, if you didn't know what you're supposed to do, trust me, it says, I'm not in no competition. Oh, okay. That's right. You can say that, but sometimes you don't even think you're in, but other people already put you in. I'm just saying. When we used to play bid whist, oh my goodness, the worst thing was to have the bad talk as they push you off the table. That was horrible. Say, look, rise and shine. You got to go. You got to go. Or they would put their trump card. They would put the card on their forehead and it would hold up there and said, I know what you're looking for, but I got it. Your opponent didn't have it. So sometimes you realize that you've been outmatched. You've been outmatched by others. And it says, therefore, you realize that it was a contest, that the competition is serious. Sometimes you realize that competition is too serious. It says in the DJ world, you might be right. You still good. You still good, Carlos. I love you. I love to hear you play some music here. I do. When we look at match, we also talk about the game, that it's a game that we play when we're matching up things. It may be that we end up in a tie. The event itself, I think the thing that disturbed me late last night, and I heard it again this morning, was they're going to take away, Jordan Childs' medal, her bronze medal from the floor exercise, because they said it was that when they petitioned, it came 4 seconds beyond the time limit of 1 minute, beyond the time of 1 minute. And I just thought that was really sad, because I thought she was wonderful, but I don't know what they're really judging on. The judges do. But obviously, when I listened to Dominique Dawes this morning on her commentary on it, and she basically said that the judges obviously made a mistake initially. And so now the mistake has had more things following up after it just because of the original mistake. But anyway, that's how it goes. Carlos says a lot of people don't think so. That's what you mean. That's true. That is very true. That's true. When we have a match, we say that it's also might be that we're fighting over something, that there will be a final determination. Like in Jordan's case, it was final, and now they're finalizing it again. But who's to say? Because they said that the American Gymnastics Federation is going to address it again. They're not done with it to show that time. It says the match also means that there might be a playoff, meaning two teams have won in their divisions, and then they form another opportunity to fight it out for the final, act of receiving, the gold in this for Olympics. But it might be the job, it might be something else. I had a friend who was telling me that her daughter had gone back, I think, on her third or fourth time for an interview by the same company. And I said, well, having, worked in areas where, people had to be interviewed, when they call you back for your third time, fourth time, that's actually very good. It's very good. Because they're really trying to say that they're going to bring the best to their company. So the match in that instance says that you're the final, you're part of that final selection group, or the group of those who are going to be the selectees. It also says it may be a rematch, meaning something else comes down, and you have to do it again. And it's, of course, the clash of sides. Who's the best? A lot of times people want to be the best. I have to be honest. I don't always say I have to be number one, but I'd like to just say that I've made it into an area that says I'm comfortable with. And I think we as people always want to be, appreciated, acknowledged. I don't care who we are. That's one of the reasons that everybody that comes into my little session, you could be doing something else, I'm going to acknowledge you. I don't mean for you to get off, and I won't keep calling your name, but I love it, the fact that you put something in that information section, that people know that you exist, that you're out there, that you're listening, and that you're thinking for yourself, because that's what Are You Stuck is. It's a question, not, I might share some of me. I want to see what you share. And we're going to have a live session eventually. We did it probably about 2 years ago during the pandemic. We did a Zoom, and it was wonderful. We had a good time. My P in compete is for participate. You can't be a part of anything unless you decided that you're going to participate in it. So it says that to participate is to take part in an action or endeavor, meaning that that it's going on and you want to be a part of it. It says meaning that you're going to engage, you're going to join, you're going to get involved, play a part, partake of, help with, assist in, contribute to, and have a hand in. So, for myself, there's so many, I love to do so much that sometimes I have to back down from my will to consider my way, that it's not too cluttered, and that I haven't committed to too much. But I love to do peacefully. That's good. That's good. Peacefully, sometimes we're not peaceful when we feel we need to do a lot of things. Ooh, prove it. Come on now, Kaliti. Prove it. How many of us prove anything? Sometimes we get out because we feel we can't prove it. And sometimes we have to prove to ourselves first that we can do it, and then compete in order for us to show that we proved it. So, the steps are it's kind of rigorous sometimes of what we got to do. And we don't always feel that we can do a good job at it. We don't. My next letter is my E, and my E of compete is engage. You cannot be a part of saying you're going to compete in anything if you're not engaged in it. And to me, engagement requires you to do several things. One of them is know what you're supposed to be doing. 2, consider how you need to approach it. 3 would be to, come on now, educate yourself, elucidate, then shed the light on it, how it needs to go around, okay? 4th would be to practice. How many people could say that they went to do a recital and they didn't practice. They had to practice, had to. It makes sense that they would. And so practice is a necessity that you would actually do that. Exercise, ooh, all good, all good, all good. So anyway, I would say that when we're engaged in something, we're going to do all of those kind of things. It says that we are a part of what's going on. We've made ourselves a part of it. We've taken on the role. Okay. I was listening this morning and they were saying that after, for many young people, after they finish the Olympics, they go into like a depression because they put up effective. Oh, that's great. Thanks, Cheryl. They put in so much effort to be a part of the Olympics and really serve their countries well, that when they finish, there's almost like, a drain on what it is that they've done. And even if they didn't win, but did they place someplace that gives significance that they will be in a position to do something else later on in that same area. And they said, but for many of the athletes, money is a big issue. And so that puts them in a depression. So they, how do they supplement all the things that need to be done in order to stay in tip-top shape? And 4 years is a lot of time. I'm quite sure that some of them, like all of us, we would try it, we would do well, and then after that, we reward ourselves by not trying anything for a while and just sitting down and not really continuing to train. But they said some athletes actually have full-time training opportunities in their own countries. Obviously, America isn't like that because we only, and in fact, I just found this out that they get a little over $37,000 if they medal. What if you don't medal? What if you don't? I don't know that breakdown, and I didn't look that part up, but it was showcasing the medal portion. And then the other thing that they were saying is that there was one young man, and I think they said he was from the Philippines. I think he gets something like over $250,000 and a home, as well as certain, and like he can always go and lifetime medical service, as well as certain places to eat. He will be able to have ramen noodles or whatever it is. But can you imagine being that, what I would say, uplifted in terms of the country's understanding, love, and care for you? Exhale from exhaustion. Right. They say they exhale from exhaustion. That's great. That would be good. Thank you so much. That's good. Exhale from exhaustion. And I imagine that would be exhausting, and I do admit that I only experienced that one time. And that's when I was doing my Olympics to get my doctorate. That was crazy. I really felt that there was a period that I wasn't well. And eventually the Lord made it right. He made it right. But I remember going through it. So when it was over, it's almost like I had nothing to do because I put so much energy in it. And I can imagine people doing that, putting a lot of energy into one thing. And then when it's all over, it's almost like they've been, almost deboned, blood draining, tired to the point where what shall I do now? I don't know what else I can do. Let's emphasize with those who do not win. That's right. Absolutely. Oh, that's really good. Empathize with them. Yes. That and I would wonder how they do that, but they said that some of these programs do have like, mental health and, various kinds of groups that give support to athletes after they come off of that. My T is for we every day are put under a test, a test to do something. It may be just to get out of bed, but we are tested on a regular. And sometimes when we're competing for jobs, people's attention, whatever it is, a goal that we've set for ourselves, we're tested. And it says test means to undergo a procedure which is intended to establish the quality, the performance, or the reliability of something. And sometimes it's someone. And it says it's our trial, it's our experiment, our tryout period, our study. Sometimes we think we've done enough and we haven't. When you consider that some people probably study 18 hours a day, and the rest of the time they do a quick meal and then they sleep for 6 hours. That's it. But that's how they've taught themselves to be regimented towards getting their goal reached. And you never realize how important it is that you may have to sacrifice a lot to say that you've been someone who competed in something. I have the utmost respect for anybody that's doing what those young people did over there. Then it says the test is also when you're given an examination. And I think I've told this story before, that I was given a test in undergraduate school, and that first requirement from my teacher to write a paper. And, I did it as almost it was a conversation piece between me and a friend of mine, and didn't have any, citations. It had nothing, but she gave me a D minus, 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 minus. That was my one pivotal. If there's a time when I can say that I pivoted, that was it. Because all I could think of is, I'm not dumb. I can do this, but there's things that I don't know how to do. And one of it was writing a good paper, a good academic paper. I didn't know. So it took me a minute. To learn. I mean, can you imagine? I'm in college, but learning some of the things that I missed in high school. Missed them, and I would always do well. I understood words and all of that, but it was the citation part, and they would always, I remember my professors telling me, you didn't, whether you thinking that's good, but you saying it, that's not good. Because they don't know you from Adam Ant. You need somebody that really said it, really experienced it, show it where they've done it, and then that reference will take everybody back to it. Made it simple now. Now I have fuel. I can move forward on what it is to be tested. But the D minus, 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 after I cried and woke up the next morning, and the teacher, I went to the teacher and I said, well, why would you give me that and not just a straight F? She said, because you did something. But also she said it was a teaching lesson that I would know not to do that, but find out what I needed to do in order to write a good paper. She said the subject matter, good. It was how you approached it. So sometimes we have to be tested in order for us to be able to come up with a conclusion on how we go forward. And the conclusion may set us up for a new test. It may set us up, but we're going to have to do it. And the last letter I have is my E. Now, if I asked you all, what would you put down for your E? Let's see if anybody would come up with what I put, because I think that this is probably the one area where most people who have gone through this whole thing of competition and competing in something, they're going to emphasize is good. Emphasize what? We would just have to determine that. But what would you come up for your E? Anybody? Exhale is good. Before you do something else, you got to do that. I'm going to give you another ding, 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 ding. Okay, I'm being silly. Oh, endurance. I love it. Endurance is good because you have to endure. You have to realize. Yeah, endurance is really good. Anybody else? Effective, endurance, exercise, educate. All of those are good. I'm going to give you one. How about evaluation? You have to evaluate yourself before you put yourself in a position where you're ready to compete. The evaluation will be, look, like they say, the revolution will not be televised. The evaluation shouldn't be televised either until you're able to say you've reached a level where you're not only competent, but you're able to compete. And so therefore it says the evaluation is the making or judgment about the amount, the number, or the value or something that has gone through an assessment. Meaning you have to give your own assessment on where you're at, or have others look at you. Look, do I have this time? That's why most people that go into tough situations, such as the Olympics, they have coaches. I can't see them doing it without a coach to make sure they stay on track. These are the people that we're looking at that's up against you. Oh, Cheryl, okay, Cheryl gave me evaluation. So that's what I said. An evaluation, of course, is the assessment, the appraisal, the judgment. Some of us don't like to be judged. We just don't. Oh, enjoy. How many of that? Now, many of them said that they were going to enjoy the fact that they even made it to the Olympics. Even if they did not win, they were going to enjoy it. And to me, I think that's a wonderful, wonderful approach to understanding the whole idea of competition. You're competing for yourself and then others. But the fact that you can find joy in it and enjoy it, wonderful. The evaluation also talks about how you're put in a ranking. Are you not? You can rank yourself, but then if you're up against others where there's an official ranking, approach or process, then you understand where you fall. And then it says evaluation comes with consideration. It comes with analysis. And then here's the most damaging of all things that evaluations comes with. It comes with opinions. Everybody has an opinion, whether it be good, bad, or indifferent, they have one. Okay. And sometimes they are evaluating you and giving you their opinion on where they're at, opinion on how well they think you did. Like, there's no way, unless I have a background in anything that people were doing at the Olympics, there's no way I could evaluate those folks. I don't know what they're looking at. Are the toes pointed? Were the legs close together? Did they get enough height? Please. For me, I couldn't do it. It's not my area of specialty, but I probably could do something with other things, and that's why I want you to look at what you will compete in. Will you challenge yourself? Will you challenge yourself this week, today? Will you look at what would be your opponent, the opposing side? Will you look at what matches you up with your for yourself or for someone else that you'd match with well? Do you look at participation as being a thing of opportunity or a thing that you ain't gonna try? Then it says, will you engage? Will you be engaging with it? Meaning you're not just looking at it from the sidelines, but you're actually getting involved in it, and you're looking at how this can, get better for you. You will take a test, and that you will be tested. And people will evaluate you. They'll evaluate you on what it is that you know or what it is that you don't know and cannot do. So anyway, that's my session for today. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you will do. Here's what you can do. Just hit the share button and let them know there's someone out here named Dr. Winnie who's just trying to make sure that people get an understanding of words, the words that can create conversations, end conversations, excite you in conversating with others, but having, what I'd say, the ability to speak from the child all the way up to any adult, regardless of who they are. Listen, that's our session. I'm going to see you on Wednesday. Love you, love you, love you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great Monday. Don't let it be that you don't compete. Compete in something. Come today. Okay? See you soon. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.